The balance of the world. For good, there is evil. For powerful, there is weak. There is always a balance to everything. But the birth of Gojo Satoru changed that balance. You see, Gojo was born with a special combination of abilities, the Six Eyes and the Limitless, in which the Six Eyes allow you heightened vision and precise control over your curse techniques and your curse energy, while the Limitless gives you the ability to manipulate space. And when someone has both of these abilities combined, given to a single person, that person is pretty much a god in their own verse. But as I said, there is a balance to everything, and to balance Gojo's Six Eyes and Limitless was the king of curses, Sukuna. You see, I have a theory that Sukuna was killed as a sorcerer and then born as a curse. But that topic is a video on its own. But I think in the human era, something happened to Sukuna that made him the king of curses. And I think something similar is gonna happen to Gojo, who right now has been cut into half by Sukuna. And as of right now, we don't know for sure if Gojo is dead or not. And I think Gege is not doing this without any reason. Gege Agutami is not a fool. If you really wanted to kill Gojo, you could have shown Gojo's body after Sukuna cut him in half. But he wasn't there for a reason. And why I say this is because to kill someone who can use reverse curse techniques, especially Gojo, who probably is the best at using the reverse curse technique on himself, you have to separate their head from their body. And in Gojo's case, his head is very much intact with his upper half of his body, meaning Gojo could be using reverse curse technique to keep himself alive. And here is where my theory kicks in. Because you see, to be turned into a curse as a human, you have to be cursed by someone else. And the case with Gojo might be similar to Yuta's, as Yuta cursed Rika and she returned back as a cursed spirit. And in this case, the one person who we have not seen till now is Gojo's teammate. We don't know what she's doing or where she is, and someone who loved him, Shoko. The fact is, we have been hinted that Shoko liked Gojo, and since all the people she loved and considered close are gone, it's safe to assume that she probably wouldn't want Gojo to die. So my theory is that Shoko takes Gojo's body while Yuji and Higuruma are fighting Sukuna, especially since they are inside a domain and they don't have a clue of what's happening outside, meaning it's the perfect chance to take Gojo's body and try to save his life. But you see, despite the best at using reverse curse technique in the entire series, Gojo's injuries might be too much for even Shoko to handle, and at this point, Shoko would start to have a mental breakdown as she would see the person that she loved dying right in front of her eyes, and the simple thought in her mind would be, please don't die and please don't leave me alone. And if Shoko thinks this, let me tell you, something is coming, and it's not good. And when I say it's not good, I mean it's very bad. That is the rebirth of Gojo Satoru as a curse. If this happens, man oh man, would this be the biggest plot twist in the series of Jujutsu Kaisen? Gojo was already strong enough to keep up with 20 Fingers Sukuna, who, mind you, is the strongest being in the entire series that we have seen up to this point of the story. And I do believe that Yuji's and Higuruma's plan has a decent chance to work. But knowing Gege and how he wants to make Sukuna look like this unstoppable force of nature, there's no doubt in my mind that this plan will fail. And despite his domain, let's just be honest, Higuruma ain't doing shit, so it's gonna come down to Yuzi, and maybe Maki to finish off Sukuna. And let me tell you, Sukuna is way, and I mean way above their leagues, for them to even pose a threat to him. And I know Yuji did gain some new abilities since when he punched Sukuna, Sukuna did say, quote unquote, I didn't expect this. meaning there is something up with Yuji, and trust me when I say this, I'm as clueless as you as to how Yuji can defeat Sukuna, or even land a significant blow on him which would injure Sukuna, even with his new powers, because you have to understand the power gap between Gojo and Sukuna and the rest of the cast of Jujutsu Kaisen is huge, like really huge. You saw how quickly Sukuna dealt with Kasimo, and you saw how quickly, or not so quickly, Sukuna dealt with Gojo. He barely escaped out of that fight, living or standing. So, pretty much everyone except for Gojo would suffer the same fate as Kasimo, as they would be dealt with within or max 2 chapters. The only character who legitimately stood a chance against Sukuna now is incapable of fighting and has already lost to Sukuna, so this should really make you think, what the fuck can we even do at this point to stop this man? And the simple answer is, revive the guy that could actually make Sukuna nervous for the first time in his life in 1,000 years. And that is Gojo. Even if he does come back in the state that he was before, he wouldn't be able to defeat Sukuna, since Sukuna can easily bypass Gojo's infinity and his attacks right now will reach Gojo. So the only option left is to bring back Gojo stronger than ever. And why, you may ask? You see, in case of Rika, she loved Yuta as much as Yuta loved her, meaning it was a double-sided thing. But in case of Shoko, does curse Gojo, again, this is just a theory, Gojo doesn't love Shoko the way that Shoko loves him, meaning there won't be any kind of attachment that would bind Gojo pretty much at this point. And when Gojo is reborn as a curse, his cursed form would be much more humanoid and similar to Sukuna, but then again, he wouldn't have any sort of attachment, meaning Gojo would become the new villain of the story. After he beats Sukuna, this time they both would be curses, and a new king of curses would be born, not in the form of Ryumin Sukuna, but in the form of Gojo Satoru. And our heroes would not only have to beat an opponent who would be even stronger than Sukuna, but also someone that they care about, the person who saved some of their lives. And not to mention, this would be a very emotional moment for everyone. But also, Gojo's new curse form waits till Kanjaku's merger curse would take form, and he would fight that thing. And we would get the most destructive battle in Jujutsu Kaisen. But then again, I'm just a guy in his room talking about how a fictional character that I have a poster of might come back as a damn villain. But what do you guys think? Will Gojo be back? And if yes, comment down below. How do you think he'll make his return? And while you're down there, like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. And if you guys want to see more JJK content. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Man, the thumbnail for this video, if Gojo comes back and looks something similar to that, boy oh boy, that would be Overlord.